Hi everybody, it's David from Doctors of Running, and today we have a fun episode. We are going to be doing a head-to-head battle between the Saucony Kinvara 13 and the Hoka Mach 4. We'll be doing a little bit of comparing and contrasting, and I will let you guys decide whether or not you have more of a fit for one shoe versus the other. But I'm going to start with some of the similarities. Both of these shoes use a EVA midsole. They're both lightweight performance trainers. They have similar heel to toe offset ratios. If we're going just through stack and specifications, if we look at the Saucony Kinvara 13, we are looking at men's size 9, 7.2 ounces, a 4 millimeter drop ratio with 28.5 millimeters through the heel and 24.5 millimeters through the forefoot. If we're looking at the Hoka Mach 4, men's size 9 per Running Warehouse, we're looking at 8 ounces. We've got a 5 millimeter heel to toe offset with a 35 millimeter stack in the heel as well as a 30 millimeter stack through the forefoot. So you got a little bit more stack height on the Hoka Mach 4. The weight is pretty similar between the two. I'd say they're relatively comparable for the stack height. Both lightweight. Here's where some of the main differences come into play. So like I said earlier, they're both EVA midsoles. A lot of the shoe is going to let you do. What you put into the shoe is what you're going to get out of the shoe. But with the Kinvara 13, it's a little bit more of a flexible sole. You have a much more flexible forefoot there. The shoe really lets you do what your natural stride pattern does. In the Hoka Mach 4, it definitely relies a little bit more on their rocker design. This is not surprising coming from Hoka. They have a much more rigid forefoot. There are some flex grooves that go through that when you load it dynamically, some of that flexibility comes through, but you're going to have a little bit more of a poppy toe off in the Hoka Mach 4. But some people do have some problems having some rigidity up in the forefoot. So it's been a deal breaker for some people, but some people have really responded well to it. The ProFly midsole also is a little bit softer in the rear foot and starts to firm up as you get into the forefoot. That's by design. So another thing to think about when you're looking at shoes. Another similarity I would say between these two shoes, they have a little bit of a cult following now. They're both lightweight performance trainers that a lot of people like, and they work well for a lot of people. One thing I do want to point out that's pretty similar between the two, they both have their own version of a swallowtail design here. And whether or not it actually creates any mechanical efficiency is a conversation for another time. But they both have a pretty good central bevel that rounds through the heel there that mimics the shape of the calcaneus bone there a little bit. They both have a midline groove and or crash pad design to help with easing some of that shock and following pathway through the linear piece of the foot. They both have a curved groove that extends through the forefoot there. So a lot of similarities in that aspect. The Kinvara does have a little bit more of a narrow last through the midfoot compared to the Hoka Mach 4. So if you're sensitive to cross-sectional area things and you feel a little wobbly when you're in performance shoes, the Mach 4 might be something that's a little bit more stable underfoot through the midfoot for you. Overall, they're very similar shoes in the performance category and can be used for a wide variety of things, hence the performance trainer tag. My favorite use for these tend to be long runs, or if I'm doing fartleks, or I'm just doing an easy run with some strides at the end. That way I can get some daily training feel, lightweight, I feel good, and then I can turn the legs over, and it's just a nice morning. Neither of these shoes I would necessarily reach for every single day training for me personally. I think the Hoka Mach 4 probably leans into that category a little bit more than, say, the Kinvara. You can do it. A lot of people do. But I tend to like these more for the uses that I was saying. As far as big differences go in terms of responsiveness, it's just a matter of the ride. It ends up coming down to flexible forefoot versus not flexible forefoot for me. They're both responsive in their own way. The power run of Saucony, it's got a little bit of give to it, and it's a little suspensive, whereas the ProFly doesn't quite suspend as much. But because you have that firm toe off, it does have a little bit of a bounciness to it through the forefoot. So It really comes down to the personal preference of the runner. I love both of these shoes. The Kinvara 12 from last year made my performance trainer. It was my performance trainer of the year, with the Mach Force very closely behind it. So these two shoes, are they similar? Very much so. Are they different? Very much so. So you're going to have to make your own assessment as to which one may work better for you. But they're both pretty traditional performance trainers in some aspects and also a little bit modern in their own way. Hoka relies more on that rocker aspect to the shoe with a firmer toe off, whereas the Saucony Kinvara stays pretty true to its roots, giving you a very flexible and natural ride throughout. Both responsive, both fun, both shoes that you should check out. If there's anything that I missed or anything that you guys feel like you have any questions on, feel free to throw it down in the comments. If you like the content, please like, subscribe. Doctors of Running is on pretty much every platform on the planet now. We got Instagram, we got Facebook, we got LinkedIn. So feel free to check us out, follow us there. We're on YouTube, obviously. Yeah, have a good one.